Happy New Year, guys, and welcome to another Top 5 with Kris05. Today I'm gonna give you 5 of the best performing decks in the current meta, but I will also give you the best list for each other class I didn't feature in this video. I'm open to ideas how to make these top 5s better for you guys, so let me know in the comments below what else would you like me to include in these top 5s so we can make it the best meta report out there. As always, I'm gonna include an overview for each deck, its win rates, a mulligan guide with the coin and without it, and if it's worth crafting, as well as what other deck archetypes from that class are performing well. I hope you find the video helpful, and if you do, you know what to do. Now, let's get into the top 5. The first deck on the list is gonna be Aggro Rogue again, but since we already did a top 5 with it in the last one, you can check it. And instead, let's talk about another rogue list that rose high in popularity again, Aggro Rogue. Aggro Rogue has been a very decent deck back in the last meta, but after the new expansion it kinda faded out, and now it made a huge return. It is almost as good as Aggro Rogue, and a lot of people will not expect you to be curving out super fast with it, so you will have the element of surprise. It has the usual stealth package with the secret passage, and you also have a huge burst with Abyss, Cold Blood and Sinister Strike. You're only running 2 weapons, the 2 hooked scimitars. And that's a good thing, because the meta right now has a lot of weapon removal, and you don't want to be having weapons with a lot of durability on them. You also have 1 Plague of Madness, so you can break the opponent's weapon. I'm looking at you, Shaman. If the Shaman is not paying attention, they might even destroy that weapon and put it in their Horde Pillager pool, which is gonna be a bad thing for them if they don't get their Evolve weapon instead. Other than that, the deck is pretty self-explanatory. You go face and hope for the best. This is the main weakness for Evolve Shaman, because they can't really heal and they cannot handle super early aggression. So that is the main reason why this deck is so good right now. For the matchups, as you can see, Evolve Shaman is gonna be pretty easy for you, but your problematic matchups would be Aggro Hunter, Whirlquick Rogue, and Enrage Warrior. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have trouble with other warriors as well, so if you're seeing too many of those against you, you're probably gonna be best with playing something else. For the mulligan, when you're on the coin, you obviously want your good Spy Mistress, Sneaky Delinquent, and Worgen Infiltrator as your best stealth minions. You don't need to keep all 3 of those, but 1 or 2 will always be good for you. Greyheart Sage is gonna be an excellent draw tool for you if you already have a stealth minion, but even if you don't, you might still want to consider keeping it. When going second, Spy Mistress is still gonna be at the top for you. Depending on the matchup, you might want your backstab so you can answer some early boards. And again, Greyheart Sage is gonna be an excellent keep for you, even more, because in this case you will be able to see 5 new cards before it's time to actually play the Sage, so odds are in your favor of getting a cheap stealth dude. Don't get baited into keeping finisher cards like Sinister Strike and Abyss, and Cold Blood will usually not be a keep for you, even though in some cases you might be able to cheese out a win with it, especially against, let's say, Evolve Shaman, who usually doesn't have a really good answer for it until turn 4 or 5. In this version, it seems like Secret Passage is not a bad keep, since usually you will be able to cheat out plenty of value and tempo out of it, so keep that in mind. The deck is definitely very cheap, so it's gonna be pretty worth it for you to craft it, especially if you're not missing too many of the epics. It's strong and fast, and let's not forget it's super effective against Evolve Shamans, so if you hate those with a passion, make sure to check this deck out. Like I said, Whirlkick is the best rogue deck out there right now, but Aggro is in a close second. And after that we have Secret Rogue and even Highlander Rogue, which is also doing quite fine. Galakrond Rogue is not too hot right now, so I'd say you stay away from it. Next up, we obviously have Evolve Shaman. Right now the entire meta has turned against Evolve Shaman, and it's still doing quite alright at the top. You don't need me to tell you it's a super strong deck, because we all know it is. You can also check out my guide about it from my last video and see how you can pilot the deck more optimally. The version I'm showing here is running 2 Revolves and a Sticky Finger instead of the Harrison Jones and instead of the Tour Guides. Everything else is pretty much the same. Revolve serves as an excellent tool against those early Edwins and questing adventurers and rogues, and you can also tempo out quite nicely with it with the Desert Hares. Cobalt Sticky Fingers is gonna be excellent for you in those pesky mirror matches, but against anything else, Harrison Jones would feel a lot better. So keep in mind how much you're facing against Evolve Shamans and if you really need that extra help against them, or you can handle them on your own. The Tour Guides help you a lot better in cheesing out your early Giants and your early Mogus, and it also helps for a bigger derailed coaster, so keep that in mind when making the switch for Revolve. No need to say anything else about Evolve Shaman, cause we pretty much covered it all in the last video. For the matchups, your worst ones would be Aggro Hunter, Broom Paladin, Highlander Hunter and Face Hunter wouldn't be too good, and Control Warrior and ETC Warrior are actually having an edge over you nowadays, even though that wasn't the case a few weeks ago. Control Shaman is not gonna be fun, and Control Warlock and Zoolock can be a problem as well, but usually it's a win for you. Aggro Rogue is also pretty fast, so keep that in mind. For the mulligan, I wouldn't rely too much on these pictures. It's a very situational deck, and you should have an exact game plan in your head against each matchup. When you're not sure what you're supposed to be keeping, full dumping so you can get your Custodian and your weapon would be your best bet. Against faster decks, it's actually better for you to give it your all to get Coaster, Giants and Mogu Flesh Shaper, and Lightning Bloom as well, so you can curve out faster. Sludge Slurper is usually not that great of a keep, but these stats skew hard in its favor, which is not really proper, especially when you're going second. When you're going first, sure, you can check it out there and swing a few times before it gets answered, but when you're going second, it usually just dies and ruins your second turn. When second, the situation is pretty much the same. You should either commit to your weapon game plan, or if that's not panning out, you can hard commit for better Giants and Mogus early. And with the Revolve, it's even stronger, even though it does slow down the turn where you get to drop them. Like I said, with this deck you have the alternative tempo play with the Hairs and the Revolve, which can be an excellent turn 2 or even turn 1 play for you if you have the Blood Bloom, the Hair and the Revolve. So that's gonna be an easy turn 1 free 4 drops on the board. The deck is definitely not too expensive, and you can even craft it without using Fireheart. But keep in mind, it's high time for it to get nerfed, so I'm assuming we will be getting some news about it this week. The weapon might get bumped with what mana, or its attack might get reduced, and Custodian might get changed as well. Even Broomstick might get touched to only give rush to its absent minions, which would be an excellent nerf in my opinion. But yeah, I'm assuming it's gonna remain strong after that too, because people neglect the fact that it can cheat out 2 giants as soon as turn 4. And after the nerf, people will probably stop running removal of weapons so much, and it might even flourish even more. Other than that, Enhancement Shaman would be your next best bet, and Totem Shaman is kinda okay too, and some people were trying Control Shaman, but I don't know. Next up, we still have Highlander Hunter, and apparently the nerfs didn't do much about it, other than making it slightly less popular, but still very strong. This version is super secret heavy, and it's still running all 3 of the nerfed cards. So yeah, good job on those one, Blizz. I don't need to say much else about this deck list. We've already featured it in countless top 5s, and it's by far the most featured deck list out there. For the matchups, Aggro Hunter is not gonna be too great for you, Broom Paladin is gonna be a problem, and Pure Paladin is not too fun either. World Kick Rogue is by far your worst one though, but you will be decent against Evolve Shamans. With this deck, it's gonna be super good for you to be starting first, and you can see that with this huge green wave of cards here. Your goal with the deck would be to curve out nicely. So do not keep too many 1-drops just because you can play them early, but instead try to have a good card for each mana. When going second, the situation is kinda the same. The only thing that the nerfs achieved is that Polkilt is a lot less keepable nowadays, and Bran would never be a keep for you, since 8 mana is just too much. Is the deck worth crafting still? Definitely no. Most of its cards are getting rotated in April, so you will be left in the dust, dustless. It was a super good craft a year ago, but now it's just not gonna be worth it for you for this short time frame. And let's not forget the price tag is quite high. Other than that, the standard Face Hunter is still doing okay, there's a Secret Hunter list, there's also a Dragon one, and there's a Beast Face Hunter out there too, so you have plenty of choices if you wanna go in a different hunter direction. Next up, it's Penflinger Paladin again, but with a super hard draw engine. You all know I like Libram Paladin a lot, and I've brought tons of people to Legend with it in my coaching sessions, but Penflinger Paladin nowadays seems to do a better job since it can actually run Cobalt Sticky Fingers in there, which is huge against the Shamans. With Penflinger and Libram of Justice, you can clear a lot of huge boards, so it has that going for it as well. People are also finding room in this deck for Silas, which always gives you something good and gives the opponent a silver hand recruit most of the times. All in all, everything else in the list looks pretty standard, so let's head over to the matchups, which surprisingly are very low populated, and I have no idea why. All of the Penflinger Paladin lists have a similar situation right now, and I think there's some kind of a problem with the premium feature right now for this deck, but I don't know. Anyway, World Kick Rogue is not gonna be great, and neither will Galakrond Warlock. But Galakrond Rogue is not that popular, so you should be fine, since against Shamans you're gonna be very good. For the mulligan, you will always want your Outdoor Attendant and First Day of School. When you're going first, you will also be happy keeping Hand of a Doll, as long as you already have a good 1-drop with it. And depending on the matchup, you might even keep Cobalt Sticky Fingers. Librum of Wisdom is also very keepable if you have a good 1-drop early on. And Salad Sprite is also pretty decent. Depending on the matchup, you might consider keeping Barroth as well. And if you're playing against a slow class that can't answer your early threats, you can even chuck out a Librum of Wisdom so you can draw a few cards for 1 mana. 1 second, the situation is pretty similar, but you can also keep Aldor Truthseeker a lot more frequently. Even Penflinger is not that bad of a keep early on there, because you will need more answers in that situation, and he will be a good revolving answer for you. Is the deck still a good craft? Probably. It's not super expensive, and you're not losing too many cards out of it too, even though Salad Sprite is a key card for you, so you could have consistently drew your 1 health good minions. Other than that, Broom Paladin is still very strong, if not stronger. And also, D-Money's Highlander Paladin is doing quite alright too. So those would be your best bets with Paladin. And the last featured deck for this top 5 is gonna be Enrage Warrior. This deck started rising in popularity quite a lot again, but this time it has a twist, the ETC, which is gonna be an excellent backup plan for you in most matchups. The deck is only running 2 weapons, hence that is why you're running only 1 Corsair's Cache. You're still running the Sword Eaters because that's an excellent 6-drop for you for only 4 mana. And I am expecting that that card will bite the Nerf hammer soon as well. You have your Risky Skipper Armorsmith, huge armor gain potential. You have Kor'kron Elite for some huge phase damage as well with the Mercenary. And for the late game you have your Rattlegore, which proves to be a very hard minion to remove by most classes. Blood Boil Brutes are a must, and you can draw a ton of cards with your Cutting class and with your Battle Rage. With this deck, it all comes down to you picking the right win condition for you. In some cases, you're gonna have to be keeping your ETC God of Metal till the end, so you can OTK your opponent. But in faster matchups, you should just chuck that guy out, so you can remain relevant on the board. As you can see, you do not have that much removal in this deck, so you might have some trouble against aggro decks. So keep an open mind and use your resources wisely. For the matchups, your worst ones would be Pure Paladin, Evolve Shaman and World Kick Rogue, but not by much. It's a very high skill deck, so it all comes down to you playing it optimally. Again, the matchups are not too populated. For the mulligan, Corsair Cache, Risky Skipper and Evil Quartmaster will always be good keeps for you. I'm not sure why the stats show that ETC God of Meadow is such a great keep for you early, so take that with a grain of salt. Sword Eater is gonna be excellent for you, and Wormhole Challenger is a great early minion for you as well. When going second, you can even keep the Risky Skipper and Barroth combo early, but keep it only against Evolve Shamans, let's say, because against most classes it would be better for you to top deck those cards later on. Blood Boil Brood becomes a lot more keepable for you as well, especially with the Risky Skipper. And you can even keep Battle Rage, because it's almost always gonna be a 2 mana draw 2 cards for you. I'm not sure how great of an idea it would be for you to craft it right now if you're missing most of the good cards. Because in April, we will be losing Ankar and Mercenary and Evil Quartmaster, Risky Skipper and Sky Raider too. So it's definitely taking quite the hit, but the choice is yours. Other than that, you have plenty of other warrior decks to choose from, including ETC Warrior, Big Warrior, Control Warrior, Silas OTK Warrior, Bomb Warrior, Taunt Warrior, and there probably is more. So yeah, plenty of warrior decks to be choosing from. For the classes I didn't feature today, for Demon Hunter, you can check out the Aggro Demon Hunter list I've dropped in the description. But also Soul Demon Hunter is doing quite well, if not better, but its sample size is a lot lower. Lifesteal Demon Hunter still works, but not as good anymore. For Druid, I've left a Guardian Druid list for you, but you can also try Clown Druid and Malagos Druid, even though those have a lot less win rate than the first one. With Mage, Secret Mage seems to be at the top right now, but Highlander Mage is also doing quite well, and it probably has bigger potential in higher legend too. No Minion Mage is also acceptable, but it's kinda memey. For Priest, Big Priest is at the top right now, but Highlander Priest again is pretty strong too. And Control Priest is also out there. I featured the Zoo Warlock in the last top 5, and I was considering featuring it again, but instead I've just left you with the best Zoolock in the description. Galakrond Warlock is also doing very well, and so is Control Warlock. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this top 5, and I hope it helps you climb some ranks. Let me know if you wanna hire me for some coaching, and we can even reach legend like that. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.